So one of my students sent me an interview with Tom Brady, who I thought was Tim Tebow.
Oh my God.
You know, Tim Tebow, but I was always saying Tim Tebow, who I know he's a famous hockey player. I mean, basketball player. I mean, ice skater. I mean, I know who he is. I know who Tom Brady is anyway. He's a gymnast, right? No, okay, so anyway, this is what Tom Brady says. This is amazing. He says, when I'm playing football, I appreciate it. I'm nowhere else. I'm in the present. That's the best part of my life, being in the present. He was talking to the interviewer here, and he says, you talk about how you enjoy your life, how to find balance. Well, it's to live in the present. To live like a kid. Why do kids have so much fun? Because they just care about what they're doing. And then he goes on to say, you do that when you're on the football field. It's probably the only place I can really do that, where I truly am my authentic self. So then it started, I mean, that was amazing, right? So amazing that, you know, I mean, he's a football legend, is he not? And here he's talking about the art and science of what does being lost in the presence mean? How do you get tapped into, you know, science calls it being in the flow. Abraham Maslow, a well-known sociologist, talked about being in the zone. It's everything that I'm talking about and working the muscle of the moment with every actor I ever come across. And now we're finding this amazing, again, I just keep saying it's sort of this confluence of amazing events where people who are not actors, from scientists to meditation experts to the Dalai Lama to Tim Tebow, I mean Tom Brady, whoever these athletes are, all kind of saying the same thing. So it's how to become more present to what's unfolding right in front of you. And then I thought about, I'm trying to find it now in my book, of course I can't, but give me 1 second. I just came across it, and then I lost it. And I think it's interesting, here it is. So then I thought, well, he used that word, where I truly am my authentic self. Oprah Winfrey talks about that. Lots of people talk about being your authentic self, but I don't think a lot of us really know, what is that? That means being your real self, being honest. But what does that really mean? Well, maybe the best way to understand, because you've all heard that word, maybe you can use it, I'm being really authentic here. I mean, I actually really love that word. I'm not making fun of it. I'm all about working toward authenticity. That's, to me, a word that's more scientifically oriented than being organic. Like, I don't like to use terms that we don't necessarily apply in our life, because I don't say that I'm being organic in the moment. I do talk about me being truthful in the moment, or being honest, or confronting my fears, or being authentic. But this idea about being an authentic self. And I thought, well, it's interesting, because I don't know if people talk about what it is. And so I thought, well, maybe the best way to understand what being authentic is understanding what your authentic self is not. How about this? You're not your job. You're not your title. You're not the amount of money you earn, what kind of car you drive, your age, your gender, your moods, your likes, your dislikes, your problems, and so on and on. It's in the book. You guys, the thing that I'm always trying to get us to be oriented toward more is, I thought about this on the way here. I thought, what is this idea about when we're not really authentically understanding who we are? Think about how you are out in the world. When you perceive somebody who you describe through descriptions that they are better than, they have a title, or they make a certain amount of money, or a lot of times in our culture we do this by the way people look. Right? Somebody who's really hot or really attractive. What happens? You don't see yourself at that level, so you defer your power to this idea of what this person must mean, what this person looks like. So think about it. If you're like going in to meet somebody and you don't even know who they are, you are who you are. You're meeting them at the same level, authentically. You're not scared to be who you are. But what happens if your agent calls and says, "Oh, you're meeting Steven Spielberg tomorrow"? Right? Because we perceive people being at different levels. It's incorrect. The authenticity, the real spirit of who all people are, is the same. Take away all those other things, we're all the same. So I think the thing that Tom Brady is talking about, people keep discussing, is how do we find a way, not just for me in the acting, which is what it's all about, but out in the world, find a way to go beyond your judgments, beyond your fears, beyond your self-criticisms, beyond your doubts, beyond the things that start to creep up and tell you you can't do that. That's weird. That's awkward. caring less about how people perceive you and what you think they're going to say about you, whether they're going to get you or not get you, and you do it anyway. That is actually being authentic. So, this week, what if you tried to do it? The last thing I want to say about that is, I thought of an analogy. You all heard that Diana Nyad, she just, like, right, that's so, I mean, I'm a swimmer, so, I mean, I was so inspired by that. If you don't know, she swam from Cuba to the Florida Keys, right, without a shark cage, first time ever, right? And she said two things that really struck out. One is she said, stuck out to me. She said, you just have to find a way. You just have to find a way. And then she said, never ever give up. This was her 5th attempt, and she's 64 years old. My God, the thing about you just must find a way. That's the truth. Just by keeping forging forward, a way will present itself. And I actually think the way came about by this guy constructed a jellyfish mask. Do you know anything about this? A jellyfish mask, because the last few times that she was doing it, she was thwarted because she got stung so many times. And those jellyfish are so toxic you can die from it. But this time, he created a silicone mask, and she was able to swim through, like, she tested it, swimming through, like, waters full of hundreds of jellyfish, not one sting. But what I thought was really amazing about that, in correlation to this thing about being authentic, is she had to put on a mask to survive. We put on masks to survive as a defense mechanism. That's hiding you from your authentic self. What would happen if you just took the mask off? You know what's going to happen? You will get stung. You will get stung. But it is worth it. It is worth it. It's worth taking the mask off and living out in the world that way. The repercussions might be you're not going to be got. Some people aren't going to get you. Some people aren't going to like you. Some people are going to sting you. Some people are going to thwart you. Some people are going to tell you it can't happen for you. But living that way is really what we're all here to do. Woo! Okay, so, oh, well, thank you for that singular shout out. That was amazing. I'll take it.